Okay, everybody, it's time for Let's Chop It Up. Today, our topic is respect. And your owner of Let's Chop It Up, we got our new hats and t shirts. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Daddy.
Uh-huh.
And, Daddy, go ahead.
Well, first of all, thank you guys for waiting us out. We want to definitely extremely apologize for being late again. You know how the devil gets busy and you get X factors that come into play, but we know who's on the throne. So God is still on the throne. So first of all, we want to apologize for this taking so long. But now we want to also stay on the right track by giving God His. So we're going to close our eyes briefly for a moment and do a little prayer. We come together tonight, Lord, speaking about the topic of respect. It's a large umbrella, which a lot of other things could be subordinate and spoken about under that umbrella. We thank you for giving us this opportunity to speak your name. And thank you for all your grace and mercies that you've given us and you will give us in the future. And we just want to start out the right way by saying thank you, Jesus.
Thank you.
Amen.
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 Okay, tonight we have a topic called respect. And respect is a like a feeling of deep admiration elicited by activities, qualities, and achievements. It could be applied to a person or a thing. So it's a noun. It could be used as a verb, that meaning my daughter will say, Dad, I like you, Dad. Thanks for the new car. And I'll say, Thank you, Samia. So then there's a flip side to the word respect. It's called disrespect. And we're going to be talking and chopping it up about these things tonight. And without further ado, I just want to try to reflect back upon, for those who's watching the first time, of a few topics that my daughter and I have discussed in the past concerning issues of the COVID-19 shot, uh, gun violence, religion, in terms of the two different dispensations that's speaking about in the Bible. And the last one I think we talked about was reparations for black people in America. Those topics are very interesting, but I'm not going to get into them tonight. You can go to my website, John Benjamin Chop It Up, and look at those and get some insight, or if you already know about those issues, give your feedback on them. So basically, tonight we also was privileged and honored to have a good friend of my daughter's,
Yes.
Nefertiri, here as a guest. She
Yes.
will be saying a few things to you guys in terms of. It's not going to be a script night tonight, where, like I said, it's a large umbrella. Respect can apply to a lot of things and issues. But we're going to give Nefertiri, and we have a friend of mine named Spike Bobby, who we're going to phone call him in, and he'll be talking about some issues. He's a retired marshal, but he still hires his gun out, and he's very respectful with a lot of other issues. So
Yes.
that's going to be the show tonight. So without further ado,
We'll pass it along to Nefertira. Williams. She goes by Niffy, one of my close friends. And Niffy has expanded knowledge on different topics and various things that she would like to bring to the table that we need to learn how to respect people and when it comes to disrespect. Nefertira also is a mother. She also owns her own business, cleaning business, as well as she does catering for food. So if you need any of those things, please reach out to her. We'll have ways that you can reach out to her later that we will post later. So, Nif, how do you feel about respect? When you think about respect, what comes to your mind?
First, I would like to thank you guys for having me on the show
You're
today.
welcome. You're welcome.
My dad,
yes,
who I love, and my dear friend, who I love. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. And I'm glad that I'm here to have the discussion and about respect because it opens up many umbrellas, and I think that respect is misled due to the many experiences that we all have.
Go ahead.
So we all have different levels of understanding what respect is and what disrespect is. So every situation changes, the understanding of respect because sometimes it's based upon our feelings, our emotional state, because, sometimes people would take respect as a disrespect when you're constructive criticism,
Yes.
when you want to be redirected or or if sometimes people feel like they're, what can I say, when they're trying to express themselves to someone, sometimes they feel that they're being disrespected if you stop them and say, hey, this is not the way to go. So they feel like, well, you didn't hear me out, so that's disrespect. But the little that they did present was enough for you to say,
I don't want to hear no more.
we're going to stop this right here because this is not it right now. So this is not disrespect,
That's right.
So sometimes, different categories of respect has broadened so widely is definitely is a communication deficiency when it comes to respect and disrespect.
Yes. And also personalities, right?
Yeah, personalities.
They play a big part in how people feel respected. I think like a person that doesn't, like introverts, right? Let's just call it out there, right? Introverts and extroverts are different people. And that's any race, any flavor, any male, female, it doesn't matter. You could be introverted, which you like to keep to yourself, or you're an extrovert that you like to talk out to people. It's a longer definition for it, but just to keep it simple. I think when it comes to respect, some people think that they are held accountable based on your name, right? So, like, my last name is Benjamin from my father, and my last name is Franklin from my mother. You better respect that, right? So, if you better know what to say to us because when we come through, right? That's just an example. But what I mean is, another person would take that and be like, "So what? I didn't even see anything wrong with that. Like, I'm a talker. I like socialness. Some people don't want to talk to you." And you have to learn how to respect someone's decision to do that. It doesn't mean that they're rude.
Right.
They're just not a talking person. So I think that's an area of respect that anybody can understand. Sometimes I don't want to be bothered either. Like today, I don't want to answer my phone today. I don't feel like talking to anybody today because maybe I'm giving off negative energy and I got something to deal with within myself. So that could be a respect factor too.
Let me ask you guys something. Let me just jump right in there.
Go ahead.
You see how lovely my daughter looks and how her friend looks. Black women are so beautiful. I just love my black women. I love all women. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a racist.
He is not.
Let's get that straight. But,
I'm okay with you blowing my head up like a blow up.
It's not blowing up. It's true. It ain't even a compliment. It's true.
Okay.
But the reason I want to jump right in here is because there's a flip side or other side to that coin of respect called disrespect.
Yes.
Now, I'm sure you guys could pull out issues on brothers, how we act and what we wear and how we carry ourselves. But what sticks out in my mind a little bit, on one of my topics I talked about, stay with me now, on one of my topics I talked about, I think it was the Atlantic slave trade, when I talked about how black women was made to babysit white kids, and if they didn't, they would go to jail. And I told you guys, don't take my word for that. Look it up yourself, and you'll find that to be true. They actually put warrants out on black women for not babysitting for black kids. But that was another issue. I'm just raising that now to point out something else of disrespect that I see in my community. I don't know if this applies to every community, but I don't like when people take advantage of my black queens, my black women, because I have daughters, they're queens too. And it seems to me that in the hair care business, in the hairstyle business, I see these Chinese and Japanese and Korean people making a lot of money and sending their kids to school off of black women's who come in there and purchase their products. I don't have a problem with that, but my main thing is when I was told by certain black women when they tried to approach these people to get in business for themselves and use their connections, that they have a problem with that. So if they have a problem with you getting connected to their resources and suppliers, why should we still buy from them?
That's right.
You shouldn't buy from them. This is a black man now on the outside looking in. I'm just thinking outside of the
It's
box
true.
because you're spending money. Their kids are going to the best colleges. Your kid is scuffling and hustling, and our kids are brilliant. So they have to get it through scholarships, athletics, blah blah blah, etc. So I think that's a form of disrespect. I think that needs to be addressed by some black women to get together and say, hey, listen, look, you can't start giving me your supplies when I want to be an entrepreneur and I need the connections. I've been catering to your business for X amount of years. I'll stop going to them. Boycott that business.
I
How
understand.
do you guys feel about that?
Yeah. You want to go first, Neff?
You can go.
Okay, so I feel that is an area to tap into, Daddy. But there's several of them, right? Because that's one. I'm happy you brought up that example though, because that's one area where African Americans can't get inside of the fold, right? Because there's a lot of areas where we purchase a lot, but you can't open the door for us, right? So that's one of the many areas
Right.
that we have. But to talk about that example is this. I do know people that are African American owners, but they still pay more than they do at an Asian market, right? So we will go to an Asian market and purchase a wig because at the African American store they have to pay more, so their prices are higher. So you can't really support the black community in that way because they didn't get into the market to get to where they have
see,
to go
let me
to.
interject
So
this.
yes, that's a sign of
me interject
disrespect.
this. This
And
is
them being
why-
a minority, like we're a minority,
right.
we should be sticking together.
This is why I brought that up, because I knew there had to be something, because I know how black women are. You're not going
Yes.
to take for so much. But the platforms we don't have.
Yes.
We don't have platforms
No.
where we can express and chop it up about these things because they need to be expressed. The main media doesn't present that same atmosphere for us.
That's right.
I'm sorry. They don't.
And that's
They
what you call
create a
disrespect.
prefabricated atmosphere for you to think a certain way and for you to listen to certain things.
That's
but
right.
they don't address the issues in our community.
real live issues.
So I'm
All right,
glad
Nick.
you spoke about that.
Yes, thank you, Dad.
So I guess that's when we're dealing with a situation like that when it comes to businesses. There is a form of some that's the form of disrespect
Yes, that's
when
right.
it comes
That's
to
my point.
our culture.
Yeah.
We don't get the same recognition in order, or they don't acknowledge what it is that we're trying to brand and do
Yes.
for our culture as well. So
Yeah.
And so,
I see that as a form of disrespect.
yes.
But that disrespect is presented is because of what is put out there through media, through it's like a stigma.
Yes.
Our growth, for us to grow in our own community,
Yes.
is a stigma there. It's like you're here,
Yes.
you can live here, and you could live in our apartments, and you could pay, but when it comes to us trying to grow and do the same, it's not there.
Yeah.
It's a form of disrespect because
Yeah, it's-
the outlets doesn't allow us to extend and brand the same. Also, like you said, when we're trying to, we buy, we give all the time, and this is our community, but it's not given back to us.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's a whole nother level.
Yes.
That's a whole nother.
That's mental slavery. You got
That's
me
a whole
moving.
nother conversation.
Mental slavery.
We could go on
We
and
could
on
talk
about that
this all
tonight.
night.
Yeah.
But
So
that's
what's
another
it-
conversation.
Yeah, that's another level, and it can spin off into a lot of things.
Right,
but
right.
Here's my point. There are solutions
Yes.
to every situation, and the solution would be we need platforms. We need people, not these token, scared, shaking in the wind, fake leaders in the community. We need people to speak out for the black person or the minority group. We need that. We don't need you to turn your television set on, lie vision on, and listen to this fake media. There's a lot of truth to some of the media, but most of it's prefabricated media. It is. And I'm going to tell you, I'll give you an example real quick. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I'll give you an example real quick. When those black brothers was charged with rape in New York City, and all of y'all know what I'm talking about, it was blasted in the paper. Oh, black men rape white girl in New York, Central Park. When it comes to find out they were innocent, they didn't do it, you didn't hear
wasn't
not
the
a
same.
peep out of the media.
Disrespect.
Nothing.
The disrespect.
Yeah.
Not a peep.
Disrespectful.
So that's one example. There's so many examples, and like they
Right.
say,
Yes,
it can
even
spin
when
off
it comes
into
to
a lot of
vendors.
things.
When
So-
we want to talk about even buying homes, right? We are still not allowed in certain areas, which is sad. I had a friend that called me.
Which
We
one?
can't even walk in our neighborhoods, right? So, and I live in a neighborhood that is mixed culture. It's probably about 2 African American families on my block, but at least I have an Asian person that lives across the street and a Hispanic person on my block as well, which makes it easier for everyone to get along. And I feel like PA is a little different than New Jersey too.
It is.
It is.
It's a lot
It is.
different.
Just
I think
be on the outside
Big
looking in.
difference.
PA embraces brotherly love to me in your face, you know. I think in New Jersey, I always felt like I didn't belong in Bergen County. My son went to Bergen County school. I paid for him to go to school, and I felt like,
Stigmatism.
why are we here? I had an area where I was disrespected, looking for my
profiling.
child,
Right.
and they did a racial profiling on me.
Profiling.
So that's disrespect. It made me leave New Jersey.
And let me say this.
I couldn't take that.
We were speaking, you and I, earlier, and
Yes.
to my surprise, my daughter alerted me that I got to go back to one more of my topics. I was talking about gun violence, and and I asked Pookat, which was one of our guests on the show, because she lost some people. Thank you, Pookat, for tuning in with us that day and,
her son
and
in
expressing
Minneapolis.
all of that for us. She expressed the fact that how gun violence took some people close to her. But my question I posed to her was, do you feel that if you had black officers or officers from the community or your own neighborhood policing your neighborhood, would you feel more comfortable with them because they know the people in the neighborhood? And she said, yes, she would. So me and my daughter Samia was speaking earlier, and come to my surprise, PA has that.
Yeah.
You can't work in a certain area in the black community or the Hispanic or the minority community if you're not from that neighborhood. So with this New Jersey doing this stuff, we're hiring all of these racial profiling, prejudiced people to come into my neighborhood and police the neighborhood and kill my innocent children on the street. I am really saddened by that. I have a problem with that. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah,
These things need to be expressed.
We have a rule where it's like, 15, 20 miles radius that you live within where you police and govern at, which makes sense. Even on even voting, right? On the voting sheet, it says, should we make it that the what did we vote for? The mayor or whoever, it lives within the atmosphere
so he'll know.
where
So he'll know.
they can understand
And the
your
people,
community.
and the
That's
community.
very important.
And that's very important.
Yeah.
Very.
I like to. The reason for that is that New Jersey and PA laws
are different.
are very different because New Jersey is not a Commonwealth state.
Jim
Yep.
Crow.
Yep.
So that's what makes it harder for us, because
Why ain't anybody talking about this?
Yes.
Why Noonie got to come on, chop it up, and talk about these things? Why is people not talking about your ministers? You got all these women in your churches. Listen. Talk about the real issue. Stop tithing and taking these people money. Talk about the issues at hand here. There's brothers and sisters dying in the street. Sure. Every day in Patterson there's someone dying. I need the things to be discussed now. So we can get some results and solution to these problems.
It's true.
We don't need another choking situation for everybody to stop doing this and do it. You done forgot about the situation just happened. You're waiting for the next situation now, so you can fake like you really care about us.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, in PA it's still killings, it's still things that happens. I just think that they're trying to push forward. Even when it came out about the police abusing minority people, which has been going on for decades and centuries and years.
George Floyd.
What they did in my community personally, the officers went into schools. They went and talked to the kids so they won't be fearful of them. Because it's already in the media, so they put a step on that forward. They can do
Protect
that.
and serve is your job.
Yes.
I talked about Micaiah.
We pay taxes.
How you shot the little girl in the back when she called you for protection because they wanted to jump the girl. Another one of my podcasts.
Yes.
George Floyd, everybody fired over for a while, then you stopped. Same old story, same old story. I'm sick of these stories.
Yeah.
Then you got, not meaning to get away from the subject, but this is a part of the subject. You could tie it right in. We got a guy named Stephen A. Smith. He's an analyst, a sports analyst. He get his stepping fletching butt on TV and try to condemn Kyrie Irving, which is a professional basketball player, because he refused to take a shot.
Yeah.
His job is to analyze sports, not attack your character. He's one of those brothers that Malcolm talked about. Slave master gets sick. We sick, boss? We sick? We. No, the slave master is sick. You ain't sick, you dummy. Interferon is a protein that's shot into your arm when you take this COVID shot, Stephen A. Smith. And that, Jesus Christ, he just pissed. See, when it just makes me mad when you piss down my back and tell me it's raining. You know, you attacking this man's character. This man has life-giving, blown breath of life in him by God, and you talking about what he should do, and what he shouldn't do, and who he's hurting and who he's not hurting.
Yeah, but Daddy, let me chime in about him though. Jesus, Kyrie Irving. Let me chime in about Kyrie Irving. He personally mentored my son. Right, he did a lot for his community. When I lived in New Jersey, my son was a player that played with the Players Basketball, Eastside High School. They won the chip, and Kyrie Irving has a lot to do with his future. So when you talk about somebody, you make sure that you tell the whole truth on how hard it was for him to get into the NBA.
Right.
What all the obstacles that he had to go through. Right. If we're talking about how New Jersey is and having to play in all these different platforms and being a young black boy in the community, then he has every right to say and take a stand on what he feels about, because he's giving back. He has done for his community. He has worked hard for himself to make it to where he is. Let's talk about the real things, not about somebody's opinion. You want to take the shot? Go ahead. If I want to take the shot, go ahead. Daddy doesn't want to take the shot. He doesn't have to.
Kyrie never said anything because you took the shot.
Exactly. That's your own personal preference.
The virus, brother, that came from China.
Another world
and you
division.
think that man want to lose money on purpose? He just gonna throw away millions of dollars because of a shot, a poke.
Yes.
No, Steve, you ain't even play hopscotch from what I'm told. So you need to be quiet, bro. Just stick to your script that they give you, because you signed that contract. Just stick to that. Stop jumping into people's personal affairs.
He probably got money for it too. He probably got a little extra dollars for saying
what
that.
What we call you is a
terrible.
step and fletching, and you can't take that money with you. Don't think the money can go with you. The Egyptians tried. They couldn't do it. They came close.
Right.
But you can't take it. And if you call yourself leaving an inheritance for your family, guess what? Some of your family members feel like Noonie feels. That's me. They feel like, keep that money because you sold your soul, my brother.
Right.
Okay. And on that note, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back.
Thank you, daughter.
You're welcome.
See you
Peace.
later.